What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. Now, with this video, we are jumping into some more of the Eternals, with the one-shot Eternals Forever. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with everything currently going on with the Eternals, don't worry, I got you covered. Check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on in these lines. Now, so far, we've really been focusing on the Eternals, where they come from, Icarus's backstory a little bit of everybody so far. But what we really haven't explored so far in this line is the Deviants. But this issue is going to fix that. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into Eternals Forever, we're picking up with Icarus. Flying up in the sky, flying through the clouds, absorbing that sunlight. Icarus may be a creature of the earth, but he has never been more in his element than he is up in the skies. But as Icarus is flying through all of this heavenly greatness, this beautiful, peaceful day is rudely interrupted by a deviant warship. With it coming in hot and fast, it is doing everything it can to aim at Icarus and take him out of the sky. Now, Icarus, he could dodge all of these shots all day long. He could make a break for it, he could try to make a run for it. But instead, he turns on them and he starts fighting. But he is quickly taken out of this fight because this was a trap. This was all set up to try and capture Icarus. With them being able to catch him off guard, using the element of surprise, they're able to make him unconscious for a short time so they can put a brain mine on him. And this will keep him unconscious, that is, until they go to Lemuria. Now, for those that don't know, this is the sunken ruins laying underneath the Pacific Ocean, and this is home of the dreaded race known as the Deviants. Now, ages ago, the Deviants, they ruled everything. That was until we saw the arrival of the Celestials, with them returning, coming to see how their handiwork is doing. Seeing that the Deviants had enslaved all of humanity, they decided that the Deviants needed some kind of punishment. We saw their entire city thrown under the ocean. But the Deviants, being a very ambitious and very survival-like species, they were able to build a society and they were able to thrive under here, just waiting for their chance to retake the surface. And today is their first steps in doing that. And that is because they have captured Icarus, bringing him back to Lord Gwar, the current absolute ruler of this cursed race. And we see Icarus brought before our priest, brought before the Lord Gwar, and he could not be more happy. This is exactly what they needed to enact their war, telling his minions that he needs to be taken to the genetic interface laboratory. He has dreamed of this day, of the day they had their greatest weapon against the Eternals. And that greatest weapon is Icarus. Now finally having him captured, he can enact his overall plan, his in-game plan to take over the surface. Now, this genetic interface laboratory, they have been working for centuries trying to eradicate the deviant gene that has been in their system for so long. Unsuccessfully, I might add. But today, this laboratory is serving a vastly different purpose. And as they get into the laboratory, our deviant ruler lets everybody know that he will be implanting a mental tracking device inside the brain of Icarus. And so when he returns to Olympia, they will finally have the location, the secret hideout, the cloaked city that hides all of the Eternals. And with them both hooking up to this device, we see the vultures turned up and both of them take a shock to their body. And in a matter of seconds, this procedure is done and over with. The mental tracking device now planted inside the brain of Icarus. He is going to use Icarus as the arrow to pierce all of the hearts of the Eternals. Using him as a Trojan horse, this war is about to begin. Now, as they unload Icarus, they wait for him to become conscious, but quickly he gains consciousness before they're ready. He's able to punch some of these deviants and he makes his quick escape. Using his optic beams, he blows a hole into the roof. With this hole, he is able to fly out, and he gets as far away as he possibly can. Not sure what happened, looking around, realizing that he was in a laboratory, and so they must have done some kind of experiments on him. Not knowing what that is, his primary goal is to get some help, to get back to Olympia. And as he makes this journey, he is trying his best to keep consciousness. And with the beautiful city just out of his sight, he comes crashing down to the ground. Becoming unconscious, losing his power, he falls and crash lands, only for him to wake up several hours later, waking up in a meadow just outside of the city. He looks around, confused on what happened, confused on how he got here. And as his memory really slowly starts to come back, he sees an individual off in the distance, an extremely beautiful woman. And this woman is saying that she has long awaited him. Not really knowing who she is, he kind of plays along with it. They play along with it until this individual gets close, they embrace one another, and he learns very quickly that this is the trickster known as Sprite. She is just messing around with him. And Sprite has to ask the question, like, what are you doing around here? Why are you just sitting out in this meadow? And while his memory is still foggy, a lot of it's coming back to him. He knows he escaped the Deviants. He's not sure why they had him, not sure what was going on. And with Sprite touching his head, she can tell that something happened to him. Something mentally was going on when he was under their control. But it all appears like it's something that was in the past and is not necessarily affecting him currently. Now, of course, we know this not to be true. We know that he is simply a Trojan horse, and the Deviants, they cannot be far behind him. But with that, we see Sprite take off. And with Sprite taking off, Icarus really does take a moment to appreciate Sprite. Having that mischief, having all of these antics, having this trickster illusionist around is really keeping them on their toes, reminding them to not take themselves so seriously all the time. And Icarus cannot be more happy to have Sprite back around. But that's when we drop down to a more serious tone, because before he heads off to the city, he has a gravesite that he needs to go see. And this gravesite, it holds the one person that he has loved more than anything in this world, and that is his son Icarus. Though thousands of years have passed since his death, his son's memory still brings him fresh grief every single time he thinks of him. Ages ago, he had fallen in love with a woman, a human woman, and the two of them, they conceived a child. Now this kid, he loved flight more than anything in the world, and he wanted to teach his son how to use these wings properly. But one day he was called away to battle the Deviant incursions. With a lot of time passing, that little boy, he grew impatient. Going and searching for his father, he flies up to the sun, much like the story of Icarus we know. But in this case, his wings do not burn. He finds himself out in space where there is no oxygen. As he slowly starts to suffocate, becoming unconscious, he falls and collapses to the ground. Landing in the sea, Icarus found his son dead, burying his tiny, fragile body long before they were able to create their regeneration chambers. But with his memory living on, he took his son's name as Icarus. And as he sits here in his grief, as he sits here and wishes that his son were back around, this is when we see Gilgamesh, the one known as the Forgotten One. And Gilgamesh, while he has a very strong exterior, at the end of the day, they are all brothers and sisters. Eternals that should be there for each other no matter what. And this is no exception. Gilgamesh has come to tell him that no matter what, he will be loved, he will be cared for. And though he carries this burden of grief, he does not have to carry it alone. And as we see the great respect between the two friends, they go flying off to the city, go flying off to Olympia. Now, right now, we have the Deviant Lord Gwar. He is giving a speech to the masses because this is in preparation for the battle. As they are gathering all the forces of Deviants together, he is letting them know that this day is the day they finally rise. Since the age the Celestials came down with the proto-humans, with the two species branching off, with the Eternals as the protectors, with humankind and deviants. The Eternals made these creations and then they left. And in their absence, the deviants realized how much more powerful they are over humanity. And because of this, they saw themselves as the superior race. And through ages of battle, we see that the deviants, they come out on top. They come out as the supreme beings. And though they were able to conquer humanity, when the Celestials returned to check out everything going on, they were definitely not ready for that fight. In no way, shape, or form could they take on the Celestials. And because of that, their city was sank to the bottom of the ocean. But their resolve is strong. And this, they vow, will be the last day that they have to sit in the ocean. That after this day, they will once again rule all of the surface. And with that, they chant death to the Eternals. Now, back in Olympia, we have Fina currently going against the one and only Ransack the Reject, the former Deviant champion of the Glittoral Arena. Now, this isn't any kind of hostile attack. This is more of a training sparring match between the two, but still testing their abilities and seeing what they are capable of. And while it seems to be a normal day in this beautiful city, that changes almost instantaneously because we see dozens and dozens of deviant warships pop up above their airspace. Recognizing the warships to be deviants, all of them prepare for battle. And in the blink of an eye, all of the forces have made their way to the ground, and this is turning into a bloodbath, with Fina chopping heads off left and right, Phastos doing everything he can with his mighty hammer, with Ransack getting his revenge finally for everything that the Deviants put him through. We have Ikaris and Gilgamesh like a tag team wrestling team just laying waste to all of these guys. But Icarus is no fool. Icarus recognizes that they are vastly outnumbered. They were caught off guard completely by surprise, and so they have no tactical advantage here. It is all Eternals for themselves currently, completely scattered across the city. And so Icarus gets an idea. Grabbing Gilgamesh, they both fly towards the control tower. Getting up to its high peaks, they look down and see the entire city engulfed in war, recognizing that there is a strong possibility that they could lose this battle to the Deviants. By being caught off guard, being caught by surprise, there is a good possibility that a lot of Eternals are going to die today. That is, unless they do one thing. Their last card to play. The bond between all Eternals, and that is the Unimite. Now, Gilgamesh, he's never been part of one of these rituals, and though he may not feel like he is worthy enough to do so, Icarus tells him that is nonsense, because when it comes down to it, you are an Eternal. We are all one, and we see the two of them raise their hands to the sky. As the ritual begins, we see a blinding light go out, and all of the Eternals, they fly up and they join in. And with this ritual being complete, the collective energies of all Eternals have now all combined into a singular entity, and all of the actions will be determined by the heart, which is Icarus and Gilgamesh. And with unimaginable cosmic energies being released, decapitating shock troops all over the ground. And this is the unbridled power of 100 Eternal minds, all of their wills acting in concert. There is absolutely no equal anywhere on Earth. Now the Deviants, in complete disarray, they start retreating, all of them fleeing in every direction. And to this day, no one has ever been able to defeat the Unimite. And it doesn't look like that is going to happen anytime soon. With this battle being over, all of the Eternals, they disperse and go in their own opposite directions. Now, while they were inside the Unimite, Sprite was able to connect and figure out what is going on inside the mind of Icarus, seeing that there was some kind of tracking put into his mind that slowly dissolved, and that's why she wasn't able to see it from the very start. But this obviously will not be the end of the Deviants. This was simply a battle that was lost, but the war, it is still very much raging. And now that he has looked into the mind of an Eternal, he has a much bigger goal ahead. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. You know, this is great Eternal comics building up to the movie coming out. Getting ready to see what they're going to put on the big screen. Are we going to see the Unimind? How many Celestials are we actually going to see? How big of a part are they actually going to play in it? How much of the Deviants are we going to see? Is this our first introduction to it? You know, I'm really excited to see the movie, and with them kind of doing this relaunch of the Eternals line, it's really great for individuals that are new to the comics or just new to the Eternals in general. It's giving us a lot of background into who these individuals are, what the cosmic Marvel universe looks like, and what we can expect from future Eternal events. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, please do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.